Hello there, everyone. It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. It is great to be with you on Inspirations for Your Life. Tonight, thanks so much for tuning in with me. It is a great evening, and it's good to be with you. Tonight is Tuesday, June 24th, 2025, and it's 9 p.m. if you're watching me live. If it's the first time you're coming here, I just want to say welcome to you. It's great to have you with me. If you're coming back, well, of course, welcome back, my friends and colleagues. And if you have not checked out BelieveMeAchieve.com, what are you waiting for? Go check that out after the show, of course. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a great master topic for the week. That master topic is multiply, meaning not effort. And tonight's granular topic is structure multiplies impact, Series 4, Show 26, Episode 4. Hey, friends, if you're thirsty, head out to the kitchen like I already did. Got myself an RO water. Maybe you want something delicious, something healthy, or maybe just something sweet or tart. Whatever it is, go get that and hurry on back so we can kick off the show. All right, everyone. Welcome to another fantastic episode of the thought-provoking Inspirations for Your Life podcast. I am your host, John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, and I am your podcast coach and host, serial entrepreneur, video producer, and a lot more. And tonight I'm diving deep into a concept that is often misunderstood but incredibly powerful: structure. Many think of structure as limiting, rigid, or creatively suffocating. But the truth is, when used properly, structure becomes a force multiplier that enhances focus, performance, and creativity. Whether you're a business leader, student, artist, or simply someone just striving for a more productive and fulfilling life, this episode is for you because it'll help you discover how the right structure doesn't hold you back, it launches you forward. All right, everyone. So why structure is not restriction? It's actually amplification. Structure often gets a bad rap, especially in creative or flexible environments. But in reality, structure isn't about restriction. It's about clarity and direction. When you implement structure, you're creating a container that holds your energy and ideas in place, allowing them to flow efficiently. It's the difference between water running wild and water directed through a pipeline. It's not less powerful, it's more focused. Structure helps eliminate decision fatigue, improves workflow, and gives you a repeatable system for success. Number 2, guys, clarity through systems. How routine enhances focus. Systems and routines simplify your day and free up mental energy. When your morning workflow or evening is guided by a predictable structure, you reduce the cognitive load of constantly making choices. That clarity enhances focus, allowing you to dive deeper into important tasks. A simple morning ritual like journaling or maybe even setting 3 goals can sharpen your intention and align your energy toward what truly matters. Number 3, guys, and that is from chaos to results. The multiplier effect of order. Chaos may spark ideas, but without structure, those ideas rarely become results. Creating order through to-do lists, planning sessions, or digital dashboards multiplies impact by transforming potential into performance. And structure translates vision into action. When things are in order, you waste less time, you miss fewer details, and you feel more confident executing even the most complex projects. Number 4, time blocking, checklists, and frameworks that actually work. Time blocking is a game changer. It forces prioritization and helps defend your schedule from distractions. Checklists keep you on track and make sure nothing slips through the cracks. Frameworks give you thinking a way for having a proven path to follow. These simple tools are not just for planners. They are for achievers. Used together, they bring discipline, balance, and measurable progress to both your personal and your professional life. Number 5, creative freedom within a framework yields more. Structure doesn't kill creativity. Okay, it empowers it. A defined space or set of constraints actually focuses and forces you to innovate with boundaries, often producing better ideas. Think of how a poet works within a form, or a jazz musician within a scale. Structure sets the scene so creativity has something to dance with. Without it, ideas may wander aimlessly. With it, they take shape and come alive. Structure as a confidence builder is in teams and in projects. When teams know what's expected, when deadlines are clear, and roles are defined, confidence skyrockets. And this is important because structure reduces ambiguity and builds accountability. Projects move faster because communication is clearer, collaboration is stronger, and people feel supported. Whether you're managing one person or 50, structure basically creates safety, efficiency, and performance. Number 7, why every high performer uses structure, even creative people. Look at any high achiever, athletes, CEOs, best selling authors, and you'll find a backbone of structure supporting their success. Behind every breakthrough is a routine, which is basically a system or discipline they've committed to. Even creatives rely on this. And so it's really important that they have this environment to produce things consistently. The myth of spontaneous genius rarely holds up. True excellence is built on something we call repeatable habits, not random bursts of luck. Start small, and one structural change that can elevate everything is key to understanding this. Okay. So if you're overwhelmed by the idea of structure, start with one thing. Create a 15-minute morning planning ritual, set a timer to work in focus blocks, use a simple habit tracker. One change can create a ripple effect, revealing how much structure enhances every part of your life. Start small, guys. Stay consistent, and you'll experience how structure multiplies, not limits, but your impact. And I think this is important for a lot of people to realize that when they hear about structure, they think, oh my gosh, I'm giving up my freedom. I'm giving up my choice. You're not giving up anything. When you start to build a structure that allows you to pivot on, think of it like an axis or like an engine, right? Or a gear. Structure gives that gear its ability to rotate or to move back and forth or whatever it is. And so when you have a structure, it allows something to keep being repeated over and over again. And it becomes, I'm going to say, second nature. But a lot of people I know don't like structure because they're afraid that if they do structure, that they're going to lose their freedom. So I can understand why that is, but I want to tell you that structure can really help you. So now is the part of the program I love. I'm going to give you basically a personal lesson or a story from my life for each point, okay, that I have shared tonight. And I'm hoping that this will get you to appreciate this, but also get you to come around and understand how this connects and understand how this can make a purpose in your life. And I know that sounds like something that's so far off base, but I'm here to tell you that it's not off base. And it's something that when we understand structure, like, structure of, like I told you, a gear, or structure of, well, as we said, a well-cogged machine, right? It keeps running. Structure allows us to know what our parameters or our boundaries are so that we don't go off track. We have structure in sports, right? Let's talk about that for a moment, right? There are structure for, what is, let's say, the structure of the rules for a soccer game. And so there are a lot. The basic rules of soccer break things down. Each team consists of 11 soccer players. of whom is one is a goalkeeper. Game is split into two 45-minute halves with a break in between for halftime. However, games are often shorter, and so soccer does have some rules. The common rule of thumb is on fouls. If it looks like a foul, it probably is. A player cannot kick, trip, jump at, charge, strike, push, hold, or spit at an opponent. I'm glad they can't do that. Bumping, leaning, or going shoulder to shoulder while competing for a ball is not foul play until the hands or the elbows come up. Let me say that again. Bumping, leaning, or going shoulder to shoulder while competing for a ball is not foul until the hands or the elbows come up. And so I think that's important that we understand the format of how soccer works. And that's what keeps the game interesting, but that's also what keeps the game on track. And I think a lot of people are like, I don't understand. Like, I remember the first time I played soccer. And I think the hardest lesson for me is understanding what offsides is, right? And so you might say, John, so, what is offsides in soccer as a rule? So offsides, a player is offsides at the moment the ball is played to them by a teammate. They are in the opponent's half of the field and closer to the opponent's goal line than both the ball and the second to last opponent. Usually the second to last defender, not including the goalkeeper. Being in an offside position isn't an automatic foul. It becomes an offense. If the player then becomes actively involved in the play by interfering with play, interfering with an opponent, or gaining an advantage. So that's how that works. So let's get into some of my specific ones that I think you guys will love. Why structure is not restriction. I remember when I first started building the J-Moore connection. There were moments I felt overwhelmed by the sheer volume of tasks. In an effort to stay flexible, I resisted structure, thinking it would just keep me free, and it would probably stifle my innovation. But the turning point came when a mentor told me, John, structure is not a cage, it's a launch pad. I began introducing weekly planning sessions and clearly defined roles within the team. The result? We became more agile, not less, and suddenly what felt like chaos began producing consistent results. I love that. The more I refined those structures, which seemed small at first, the more creative and productive I became, and so did my team. Even in podcasting, I once tried winging it, thinking, well, spontaneity made for better shows. It didn't. My most powerful episodes came after I embraced a structure flow into content pillars, was my big takeaway. When you treat structure as a tool, not a trap, it transforms you from a boundary into a booster. Like the fact when I came up with the idea a few years ago to start every week with a master topic, right? And then we have granular topics every day. Number 2, clarity through systems, how routines enhance focus. When I launched my Inspirations for Your Life podcast, which you're watching now, I found myself juggling content ideas, tech setup, guest scheduling, and promotion, even though I'm very savvy in this. It was mentally exhausting to balance all these plates in the air, to say the least. I was constantly switching gears, and it drained my energy, and I didn't know what to do. That's when I started incorporating a daily system. I created a morning checklist that involved a short meditation, reviewing my daily goals, and checking in on podcast performance metrics. It's simply my brain's workload, and yes, it freed me up to focus on high-value work. This routine became sacred. It didn't just boost my productivity, it sharpened my clarity. On days I stuck to it, I found myself more intentional and laser-focused. Having a structured start helped me avoid distractions, prioritize important conversations, and consistently show up with energy and purpose. Routine, guys, isn't boring. It's your built-in clarity system. Number 3, from chaos to results. The multiplier effect of order. Back when I was running several projects across different industries, from tech services to nonprofit collaborations, my desk looked like a battlefield, to say the least. Sticky notes, emails, missed calls, and scattered to-do lists. I was, can I say, the slightest to be busy? I definitely was, but not effective. That changed when I adopted project dashboards and clear planning systems. I moved from scribbles to software, and from last-minute scrambles to planned execution. The change was immediate. My confidence soared because I wasn't guessing anymore. I was following a process that worked. Deadlines were met, clients were happier, and I felt in control. The clarity turned into momentum. Structure doesn't remove spontaneity and make sure your ideas don't get lost in chaos. It's the bridge from vision to reality. And we start learning how to build a bridge. I think that makes things a lot more, how can I say, manageable for you. Number 4, time blocking, checklists, and frameworks that work. I'll never forget the time I had back-to-back podcasts, client consults, and a community event in the same week. Ouch. I was drowning in commitments until I implemented time blocking. I literally color-coded my calendar and blocked out time for every task, from deep work to even lunchtime. This wasn't about micromanaging myself. It was about protecting my energy and priorities. I tell people now, guys, whether it's social, whether it's business, if you're not on my calendar, well, it's not happening. I paired that with checklists, especially before recording. Mic checks, lighting, agenda, social post, copy ready. It saved me from small but impactful mistakes. Later, I developed frameworks for how I approached interviews, episode themes, and even promotions. These weren't cages, they were accelerators, folks. Suddenly, I could do more with less effort, and that was something I was very happy about. Number 5, creative freedom within a framework yields more. When I started designing the visual branding for one of my other companies, I initially gave the design team full creative freedom, but the results were inconsistent. I finally introduced a creative brief set of fonts, colors, themes, goals, and audience tone. What emerged was magical. With some boundaries, the designers creatively flourished, and we created more cohesive, impactful visuals in less time that made everyone feel welcome. Even in my solo content, like writing posts or scripting podcast intros, having a content framework, hook story, takeaway, let me be more expressive. I had fewer creative blocks because I knew where I was going. Freedom within form doesn't stifle you. It anchors your ideas and gives them a runway to fly. Number 6, structure as a confidence builder in teams and projects. Years ago, I led a team of volunteers for a large New Jersey technology expo. Initially, everyone was excited, but without clear roles, confusion took over immediately. People missed meetings, they duplicated tasks, or didn't feel empowered. I stepped back and I restructured everything, assigning leads, setting timelines, and implementing status check-ins. It was a complete 180. Suddenly, people started showing up on time, felt ownership, and executed with confidence. The structure didn't just improve logistics, it boosted morale. When people know what's expected and how they fit in, they perform better. As a leader, structure allowed me to be more supportive without micromanaging. It built trust and delivered excellence. Number 7, why every higher performer uses structure. Even the creatives do. I had the chance to interview several high performers on my show. And entrepreneurs, creatives, even athletes. One thing they all had in common: rituals and structure. At first, well, it surprised me. I assumed creatives lived on inspiration alone and just spontaneity. But every single one shared how routines help them stay sharp, focused, and consistent. I'm not saying to not be spontaneous. I'm just saying don't let spontaneity be the center stage for your structure. I applied this to my own life. I built in a content calendar for my podcast, dedicated editing days, and a habit of reviewing analytics every Friday. This wasn't about controlling the outcome. It was about creating consistent excellence. The more I learned from others, the more I saw the power of disciplined structure, even in the artistic world, which was not easy to find at first. Start small, guys. One structural change that elevates everything. I remember speaking to a young professional who felt paralyzed by his disorganized schedule. I told him what had worked for me. Start with just one change. I recommended that he create a 15-minute morning ritual to plan his day. He came back weeks later telling me how that one habit helped him feel more in control, and soon he added others. That story mirrors my own journey. Years ago, I was always playing catch up until I committed to one simple change. Every night, 5 minutes, small investment to write down what I was going to accomplish the next day. I took a plain piece of paper, nothing fancy, and I wrote down things like breakfast. If I was preparing a reel, AM reel, PM reel, IFYL pre-show. And as I accomplished each thing, I took the pen and I drew a line through it. Our body likes when we accomplish things and when we can see the boxes checked off or a line going through the task. I think that's hard for a lot of people to recognize, but when we think about structure, right? There's a lot of things that have structure, right? Bridges have structure. People have structure. You might not think they do. They do. Everything in our world, that's right, everything. What has structure in our world? Examples? There's so many things, guys. So I think the one thing is nature has a lot of structure, right? Animals, humans, beehives. They're built in a very precise hexagonal pattern. They maximize space and efficiency and a perfect natural structure. Trees, there's roots, there's trunks, branches. They follow a natural order that supports growth and, guys, you know what? Survival. In society, laws and legal systems, they provide a structure that keeps communities safe, resolving conflicts, and setting boundaries. Educational systems, grade levels, curriculums, and semester calendars help students progress in a clear, organized way. Public transportation, schedules, routes, and traffic systems are structured to ensure people get where they need to go. Even in technology, folks, computer code, programming languages follow strict synthetic rules. Without structure, software wouldn't ever be created and definitely would not be able to run. Internet infrastructure, domains, IP addresses, and data packets all follow a structured system to communicate efficiently. User interfaces, menus, buttons, layouts, design structure, usability, aesthetics, all to make things work better because everything is a perception of humans. In daily life, we have calendars and planners, and these tools bring structure to our time, helping us prioritize and stay on track. Look at the task I gave you with that little to-do list that I use. It's very simple with just a piece of paper and a pen. A morning routine, a simple ritual like brushing your teeth, working out, or journaling bring order and intention to the day. Meal prepping or grocery lists. These structured actions reduce decision fatigue and make eating healthier and more achievable. In art and creativity, music, theory, notes, scales, time signatures provide a framework with which artists create expressive works. Poetry, things like a haiku, a sonnet. These give shape to emotion and thought, challenging poets to innovate within boundaries. Film and storytelling, act structures, beginning, middle, end, help engage audiences and create satisfying narratives. In business, guys, and leadership, organizational charts, clear reporting lines and roles create accountability and communication flow. SOPs, standard operating procedures, help teams repeat structure successfully and outcomes consistently. Meeting agendas ensure conversations are focused, timely, and action. How about things like bridges, sports, even relationships, guys? So, these all have a kind of structure. Bridges are engineered that hold everything together. A bridge is a perfect symbol of how structure transforms possibility into reality. And so things like trusses, cables, beams, and the supports bridge what's needed or it would collapse. Similar in our lives, where businesses, we can have big dreams or inspiring visions, but without a solid structure, those will fall flat and not happen. Sports. Structure makes the game possible. Every sport from football to fencing relies on some kind of structure. The rules are positions, scoring systems, and strategies. And the structure doesn't take away the excitement. It makes competition fair-focused and thrilling, and a lot of people like it. When we get into relationships, it might sound, how can I say, odd at first, but even relationships thrive on structure, just not the rigid kind. Structure in relationships can look like open communication, healthy boundaries, shared values, and consistent effort. That's how we know where we stand, what's expected, and how we grow. When structure is missing, like no time for each other, unclear expectations, or broken trust, relationships suffer. But when you create time for date nights, establish mutual respect, and check in emotionally, it builds a foundation. That structure doesn't make love robotic. It creates a space where deeper connections and spontaneity can bloom safely and naturally. And so I think sometimes people get a little bit confused because they think that if they add structure, that they're going to ruin something. You're not. Structure is not meant to account for everything. It's meant to give you a guide, right? For example, if you're trying to come up with a new hobby, you might want to get a structure for what type of hobby, but it doesn't have to dictate exactly what the hobby is. And I think that's a thing for a lot of people, is that when I tell somebody we're going to add structure, they think that I'm going to stifle their productivity or their creativity. A little bit of structure, doesn't have to be a lot, can give you the parameters, can give you the go-betweens, right? Think about a store, for example. If you didn't have structure in your shopping store where you buy your food, how would you know where to get things? Like everything would just be mishmashed, right? Everything would just be all thrown together. There wouldn't be organized shelves. It would just be all thrown. And I think that's a big problem for a lot of people, that when they see structure, they think it has to get complicated, but it really doesn't, folks. It just needs to be some type of order. Our computer hard drives have structures, right? Like file allocation tables and network NTFS. So I think these are, important things. And hopefully it can get you to appreciate what structure is. So NTFS is new technology file systems. And so everything in our life has structure. When we start to appreciate structure, we don't mind it. It's just, we don't want structure that's going to cause us to be in a cage or be in a small area. We want structure that's going to give us the parameter, like in soccer or in football, to know that we have to stay in bounds. When we get out of bounds, that can be a problem. Just like in our own life, when we start to have issues like, we can't manage something because we're feeling overwhelmed, well, that's a good example, right? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. Do check out BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. I'll catch you real soon. Have a great night, everyone. And remember, structure makes reality possible.